You gave him your phone?
Yeah.
Oh. Hopefully not the codes all.
I'm too addicted to the phone, so
Yeah.
it's better you take it.
Well, good morning. Great
Good morning.
to have you out here. I have a question before we get started. There's a track, I guess, that's like Bristol in NASCAR Europe, high
Yes,
banks and such.
Yeah, really high bank.
Did you do okay there? How does that? And do you kind of like look at Bristol as maybe I could come over here just as well as you've done on the road courses as maybe that oval magic?
Well, first of all, the name of the track is Denny.
Thank you.
In Holland. And I had one of the biggest track in my career. So I don't know. I really like the road courses. That's who I am. But it's good fun driving there in Vernet. And I really hope we will have some more oval tracks back in Europe because we need to. We definitely need to.
Next question, Jerry.
Jerry Jordan, Kicking the Tires and Performance Racing Network. How you doing today, bud? What are your plans this year over here in NASCAR with Xfinity or trucks? You had some good turnouts last year. Well, what are you looking forward to?
It's complicated, and it's actually really annoying to be in that part of the year without knowing exactly what I'm going to do in 2017. I'm definitely trying to find some sponsor and funding for a full season in trucks. But I always know that doesn't matter what happens, I have my spot in the Euro Series again, and I can try another shot on winning the championship over there, and definitely do whatever I can here in the States. First of all, I would love to do all the road courses. Doesn't matter if it's Xfinity or Motorsport with the trucks. I definitely want to do everything, and of course involving some oval tracks because we are still in NASCAR and it's something that's part of it.
Jacob.
Jacob Seelman, Performance Motorsports Network. I've got kind of two parts here for you, Alon. The first part, as far as, you mentioned you have a place in the Euro Series, but knowing that you're trying to get a full season in the States, that I'd assume that's kind of the priority at this point. Like, not necessarily a fallback if you have to go back to the Euro Series, but definitely the preference would be to find a full season and chase a championship over here.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, I try to race in NASCAR. NASCAR is here in the States, so it doesn't matter. That's my main priority, for sure. Being here in NASCAR and here in trucks or Xfinity, or doesn't matter, but be here in United States and not in Europe. For me, going back to Europe probably going to be a step down because I feel ready enough to race here. But that's life. It can be tough sometimes. I definitely not stopping looking for sponsor and money for the trucks, and I really hope I can do it this year.
McFadden.
Dale McFadden with NBC Sports. So are you living primarily in the United States now, and what has it been like for you visiting and getting acclimated to this country over the course of your life and career?
What does it mean, acclimated? The word? Sorry.
Excuse me?
What the last part of your question? Sorry, they might not that
used to it.
Getting used to living in
okay.
the United States over the last few years or so.
So, no, I still live in Tel Aviv. It's my country. I'm Israeli, and I love it. I know that if I'm going to race here in the States, I'm probably going to move here to Charlotte. It's part of it. I raced in Indy Lights in 2012, and I was living here in the States. So yeah, right now it depends. If I'm going to race in Europe, I'm probably going to stay in Israel. If I'm going to race here, I'm probably going to move here, and I enjoy this country anyway. So for me, it doesn't matter.
Lewis.
I could ask you Manish. Anyway, Louis Franco Reuters. Road racing is a level of complexity, but you did so well in the rain. Do you do a little rain dance before any Xfinity races in the rain?
Usually they always said it because I come from Israel, bring the sun together with me. But every time, yeah, in road courses, usually I pray for rain because I know I'm pretty strong in the rain. I grew up in Europe, racing in Europe, and there you never know when it's going to rain. It's usually rain every time. So yeah, I just love the rain, and I really hope, even if we can drive an oval with the rain, probably it's going to be fun for me,
Next.
Caleb Whistler, Speedway Digest. So you've raced in Xfinity and trucks. What have you learned from there that goes to the Euro Series, and what have you learned from the Euro Series that comes to Xfinity and truck competition?
The funny thing, I thought when I will jump into the Xfinity car, it's going to be a completely different car for me. But in terms of the car inside, it was actually almost the same, just 2 times more powerful. So that was the Xfinity, but when I jump into the truck, it was a completely different story because I was racing in ovals, which is something actually not new for me because I already raced in oval with single-seater in Indy Lights, but it's still different kind of racing for me. And I still learning as much as I can in oval, try to absorb as much information and more knowledge about oval racing, which is not easy. So definitely the 2 races I did in trucks was probably the most valuable races I did this year.
We've got Tyler, Wolf, and then Stan.
Tyler Burnett, Motor Racing Network. Recently AJ Allmendinger tested the road course at Charlotte, and there's a great possibility or potentially that might be added either this year or next year to the schedule. What road course would you like to see added into the NASCAR series, and do you feel like if more road courses were added, that would open up your schedule here in the States?
In Europe, most of the racetracks are like Formula One racetrack, really high technology, good asphalt, really wide. And when I moved here for the first time and I raced in Indy Lights, I was racing in street tracks. I would love to see some street tracks, at least one road course street track in NASCAR. Must be a really cool thing, watching those cars driving in the middle of the town. I think that's a cool idea.
Wolfgang.
You've seen the road course, you never raced on though.
I never raced on the road course in Indianapolis, but as I said, it's like a Formula One track. I think the oval track, the super speedway there is so much better than the road course.
Wolfgang Monzer from Germany Ranchport Press Agency. As far as I know, Israel has absolutely not much traditional background in racing, except in '71. You mentioned you live in Tel Aviv. We had the Grand Prix in Israel, which was boycotted. What brought you up to NASCAR and from Israel to here?
I grew up without any motorsport, nothing. When I started racing was in 2012. Actually, motorsport was illegal in Israel. You talk about the 70s, which is a completely different era. But as a kid, without any knowledge about racing, about motorsport at least, and I started getting interested in motorsport, was 2 major things in my life. Was Formula One and was NASCAR. In my vision was the 2 highest levels, in motorsport. So when I started racing in Europe and I was on the path to Formula One, I was racing in single seater, Formula 3, GT, stuff like this, and I realized that Europe is not the place I want to be because it's completely different atmosphere, completely different style of racing. And I changed to NASCAR. Immediately I thought that's the place I want to be, and I know since I'm a kid that being in a cup, that's the highest level in motorsports in the world probably, combined together with Formula One. So that's actually what brings me into NASCAR, and it's something really, really special because in Israel, if I will be very honest, when I grew up, people always, until now, people think that NASCAR is just people who turn left, and that's it. Sit in a car and just turning left. And now when I actually I get more success in NASCAR, and especially winning the Athlete of the Year, people get more and more interest in actually now the NASCAR races are broadcast in Israel. And yeah, I'm really glad people really have the opportunity to understand that and realize that NASCAR is one of the toughest races in the world.
Well, thank you for stopping by. An incredible journey, and hopefully we'll get to see you on Bristol and other ovals, Charlotte, and some road courses.
Really hope so.
Thank
you very much,
Alon
everybody.
Bay. Coming up next, the president of Performance Racing Network, Doug Rice, will have Paul Menard as our next. You ready to go?
Good. Welcome to the stage now from Richard Childress Racing, Paul Menard. Paul, how's your day gone so far?
It's going by pretty quick, actually. So far, so good. I think we're ahead of schedule. So can't ask for anything more. Maybe we'll get out early.
We'll try to keep you that way. All right, let's go ahead and open up the floor here for questions for Paul Menard. We'll start over here with Wolfgang, and then we'll go in the back here.
Wolfgang Monze, hello, Paul, from Germany, Ranchford Press Agency. Without giving too much secrets away, I think also NASCAR, like over in Europe, any kind of racing, it's an ongoing development. Can we expect see some more maybe changes to your car engine-wise or aero package-wise from Richard Childress Racing?
Well, I mean, since 2014 when we debuted this new car, we've taken downforce away every year. This is a big change for us with for aero this year, and I think NASCAR is going to continuously tweak it. We might put more downforce on next year if we see that this isn't the way to go. So NASCAR is not afraid to make changes, as we've all seen with the format, with the past few years with the cars, and you have to stay up with current events and what's what makes for a good package on the racetrack. Personally, I'm a proponent for less downforce, maybe stickier tires that fall off. I think every driver is pretty much on board with that. That's the key, is the tire combination with this low downforce package is, still have those big numbers on pole day, still see, 190 mile an hour qualifying speeds, but race at 160, 170 miles an hour. That would slow things down, make aero a little bit less important, and make for a better race.
We'll go in the back and then over here to Lewis, and then we'll get to Lee.
Hi, Kelly Morrison, NASCAR Preview and Press Guide. You once said before there's a lot of little things that you have to get aggressive with. Can you elaborate on those little things and how you plan on attacking those?
I don't remember when I said that, but yeah, life. There's little things you have to be aggressive with. In the race car, I mean, it's just capitalizing on what's in front of you, what moment you have to. You have such little windows to maybe make a move to, put you 3 wide on a restart, things like that. Those windows are very quick, and if you wait too long, then bad things happen. So there's so many little things like that. Just having an opportunity to capitalize, pushing the limits to get the cars as good as you can, through the garage area. You see all these cars trying to get through tech, they get pulled back out. Just being aggressive with everything you have to compete at this day.
All right, let's go over here to Lewis, and then to Lee Spencer, and then to Bob Hockris.
Lewis Frank of Reuters over here. Sorry, the Packers are gone. Panthers didn't even make it. You have any rooting interest in the Super Bowl? If so, who?
I'm going to watch it, but I have zero rooting interest. The Packer loss last week was heartbreaking. I knew it was going to be tough to win, but I knew it'd be tough for them to beat the Falcons. But man, they lost pretty badly. This weekend, I don't really, like I said, I'm not going to pull for anybody. I just want a really close game and a good game. That's all I care about.
Back over to Lee.
Lee Spencer, Motorsport.com. Happy New Year, Paul.
Happy New Year.
In your next chapter, whatever you decide to do, considering your family has been so involved in motorsports over the years, do you have any interest in team ownership? Would you ever see yourself moving into that role?
I'm probably going to own an ice racing team at some point. As far as NASCAR, I'm going to leave the door open. I have no idea, but whenever I do retire, I'm definitely going to stay involved in motorsports. It's a passion. It's what I've always done. My whole family's involved with it. It's all we always do. So when that day comes, I'm going to spend a season ice racing and go from there.
Thanks for mentioning ice racing. Now I have the theme from Frozen going through my head, but anyway. Bob.
Bob Pockris, ESPN. How much time have you spent with Matt Borland in the off season, and what do you anticipate from that change?
Well, every time Matt and I spend time together, I get more impressed with him. We spent quite a bit in the off season, more than normal, more so than a normal driver crew chief relationship, I think, just because we just don't really know each other. So we made an effort from early November up to current to just talk all the time, get lunch, get breakfast, do walkthroughs at the shop, things like that, just to try to understand each other. He has a particular way about asking questions. He'll know the answer, but he's going to ask you the question to see how you perceive it. And he's always pushing you that way to kind of think outside the box a little bit. Really looking forward to working with them. We have a really good team built. He's brought in some new guys, and really looking forward to getting to know them better. I've met them all, but trying to get to know them a little bit better throughout the year. And I'm looking forward to it and looking forward to good things.
Other questions? All right, I think you're going to, right up here, Tyler.
Tyler Burnett, Motor Racing Network. With A.J. Allmendinger recently testing at Charlotte on the road course, would you be open to having a road course in the playoff? And could you see maybe Daytona or Indy being tested in the near future?
Oh, for sure. 2 road courses is not enough. Our cars are not built for road racing, which makes them really exciting to both drive and to put the product out for the fans. I've said all along that there's these tracks that we go to 2 times, sometimes Kansas, obviously Charlotte, that have road courses there available. Daytona, I mean, I've driven on the Daytona road course. It's a good mixture of really high speed and really slow corners. So there's a lot of give and take with setup wise, which one you want to develop for. I've actually won on road courses in the Grand Am Series at Fontana and Phoenix. So I've driven both of those road courses there. The Phoenix one's particularly exciting because it's so small. It's like a short track road course. Putting one in the Chase, I think, would definitely. I think that's what our sport needs for sure, just to shake things up. We have speedways, we have intermediates, short tracks. Throw a road course in there.
Well, Paul, thanks for spending some time with us. Good luck with the rest of the media tour here, and best of luck this season.
All right, guys. Thanks.
I think Daniel Suarez is scheduled to be on the stage now. Joe Gibbs Racing newest Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series driver, Daniel Suarez. Daniel, I know this has been a whirlwind of a day for you so far. Pretty busy right now, aren't you?
It's been relaxed. It's been a lot going on for sure, but we're having a lot of fun.
All right, we'll go ahead and open the floor for questions. We'll start over here with Holly Kane and then move around the room here.
Congratulations, Daniel, on everything. I want to ask you, we've just found out the new Drive for Diversity class was announced, and I wondered for you, now that you're in the Cup Series, looking back, how important was that program to you and to your career, would you say?
It was very important for sure. It helped me a lot to go through the K&N series. But at the same time, a lot of people that has been on my side from Mexico, they've been helping me a lot, and I believe that the most important part of my racing career, they've been helping me through all the transition, the tough times here in moving to the United States through the K&N series and making the step to Joe Gibbs Racing, doing my debut in the NASCAR Xfinity Series just a couple years ago. But definitely this program was very helpful as well.
All right, let's go right here. I think it's Bob, and then we'll get over to Kelly Crandall and then back over here.
Bob Pockris, ESPN. Since the announcement a couple of weeks ago, what have you been doing to prepare?
Well, I would like to say not much, but that's not true. It's been a lot going on. In the racing, pretty much every day I've been in the racing, getting to know more Dave Rogers and my entire 19 team. It's been very cool to see the way that they work, because definitely it's quite a bit different than Xfinity team. and it's been good to learn new things, to learn the way that they do everything, the way that they prepare before the weekend, the race weekend, and it's been a lot of going on, trying to learn everything as quick as possible. I know that there's still a long ways to go. We still have some time before Daytona. We're still working in some things that I have to learn still. Hopefully we can do it in the right way.
All right, we'll go here, then we'll hop back up this row, right here, and then over back in the back.
Kelly Crandall, Racer.com. Daniel, your new crew chief, Dave Rogers, said that he watched you a couple years ago when you first made some ARCA starts, and the thing that stood out was you sat in a really good car, but you made mistakes, but it showed him that you have talent, just a lot of learning to do. And then he said in December he approached you after you won the Xfinity title and said you made intelligent decisions, you deserve to be a champion because of how you grew over the year. What do you remember about that conversation?
Yeah, Dave, he's an amazing crew chief, and he's an amazing person as well. I'm getting to know him more and more in both sides as a crew chief and as a person, and it's been very fun to get along with him more and with the entire 19 group. But yeah, actually he mentioned that to me. He mentioned that he watched me since the very first time I jumped into the ARCA car and into Xfinity car, and the same thing that you just mentioned, that he was very proud of what I did last year, not just for the speed, but as well for the material that I guess I show on the racetrack, and he's super excited. He was super excited to have a car for this year, and now that all this changed, he said, man, the goal is the same. We are going to go out there with a rookie driver that is hungry to be successful and to be strong and to learn as quick as possible and to try to win races. And that's exactly what we're going to try to do.
Hey, Daniel, Jeff Gluck from jeffgluck.com. Yesterday, Kyle Busch was asked about you and how you come up to him for help and stuff like that, and he kind of dropped a Daniel Suarez impression a little bit of your accent a little bit. I'm wondering, do you have a Kyle Busch accent that you could demonstrate for us?
Man, that's a good one. But I guess if I try to do his accent, you guys won't be able to understand me. But because I try to talk like he talks to me sometimes, and I feel like he's just super fast, and I can understand half of the words that he's saying to me. But I guess he's the same way with me. He can understand half of the words that I'm trying to say to him. But no, honestly, Kyle has been nothing but great to me in the entire 2015 season. Like he mentioned yesterday, I used to. Sometimes I'm still, but I used to bother him every single week to ask him for help, to ask him for advice, and that showed in the racetrack right away. So, I'm just very, very proud to call him a friend now, and to have that confidence and go out to him and ask him a question, and that I'm sure that he will answer that question in the right way. So definitely he's been a huge part of my racing career in the National Series to be here sitting with you guys right now.
Hey, Daniel, Zach Albert, NASCAR.com. All of a sudden you're in a Rookie of the Year race right now. How do you size up that battle? You've got yourself and Ty Dillon and Eric Jones, a couple of guys that you've become real acquainted with racing against the last few years.
I think it's going to be very cool. Really, Ty Dillon, Eric Jones, we know each other very well. We raced together in the NASCAR Xfinity Series already more than 1 year. So we know each other well. We get along very well, and for me, something that is very cool is to see how slowly all these group of drivers we've been making our way up now to the cup level. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I believe that you guys will enjoy it as much as we are going to enjoy it. So looking forward to it, and hopefully we can do it, start in the right way in the Daytona 500.
All right, let's go in the back over here, and then way in the back. We'll try to get over here to George and Gordon and Greg too if we've got enough time. Got about 3 minutes left.
Jacob Seelman, Performance Motorsports Network. Daniel, kind of a follow-up from what Jeff said a minute ago, but we've heard the coach and we've heard Kyle talk about how you would just blow Kyle's phone up, and now you get to be teammates with him. Does that change the dynamic at all this year, knowing that you're racing as teammates in the Cup Series, but at the same time, yeah, you're a rookie, but you want to beat him if you can, too?
Yeah, well, that's going to be interesting. I don't really know the exactly answer to that. I do know that Kyle, like I said, we race each other in the NASCAR Xfinity Series a lot, and he was still super helpful, and he was still giving me a lot of advice. So I don't really know how that's going to change in the Cup Series yet. I'm sure that we are going to still sharing a lot of information, and I'm going to still asking him a lot of questions, maybe. And I think it's going to be fun. Now we're going to be racing, obviously, in the Cup level, but I'm the same person. I'm the same Daniel Suarez than a couple years ago. Just not shy to go out there and ask questions to a veteran driver, and hopefully I can get the right answers to be a better person and a better driver. And like I said, Kyle was super helpful, and Kyle obviously he's been the most helpful, but the entire Joe Gibbs Racing family, Matt Kenseth, he's been helpful as well. Carl Edwards, super helpful, not just in the racetrack, but out of the racetrack as well. And Denny Hamlin in Darlington, he helped me a lot. Every single driver in this family has been great to me. Obviously, Kyle the most, and now I'm looking forward to be a teammate of them in the Cup level.
All the way in the back there.
Hi, Michael Tomzik with NPR. What does it mean to you to represent your home country in NASCAR's top circuit and also be a person that young Latinos can look to for as a role model and as to show a career path that could be available to them?
For me, it's great. For me, it's amazing to be able to be a role model for so many future new drivers or so many fans here in the United States, American fans obviously, and as well Latin American fans. I don't want to say Mexican fans, because honestly in the last few months I have seen how a lot of people from the entire Latin American community follow the sport, and they've been following me my racing career. So it's been a lot of fun, going through this journey, and I'm really looking forward for the future. I think that this is going to just get better and better, and I'm super excited to be in this position. And obviously, I feel very lucky to be the driver that can represent all this community.
Well, Daniel, thank you for sharing time with us today. We really appreciate it. Sorry I couldn't get to all your questions, but like we said all along, we're working with a pretty tight schedule here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, guys.
Also from Joe Gibbs Racing, glad to have Denny Hamlin up here on the stage. We'll go straight to your questions and try to get as many in as possible. Right over here.
Denny, Jordan Bianchi, SBNation.com. There's some reports out there that Carl Edwards may be considering a run or would be a prospective candidate for Senate in 2018. Wondering if your thoughts on possible Senator Ed Edwards.
I can't vote for him, so.
You wouldn't vote for him, or you can't vote for him?
Can't vote for him.
Okay.
Can't. But I would keep my ballot anonymous. I would not say who I would vote for. Would he be a good candidate? I don't know. What does he know about politics? Anything? I'd say he probably knows a lot about Missouri or Kansas. That's where he's from, right? Yeah.
All right, let's go to Bob here, and then we'll go over to Tyler.
Hi. Bob Pockris, ESPN. I guess you told some people a couple weeks ago that your extension is essentially done. I'm curious, is it like done? Is it signed? Are you good?
No, it's not.
Will it be soon?
Hope so.
All right, let's go back to Tyler.
Tyler Burnett, Motor Racing Network. With Sorry, I'm right over here near Bob.
Okay.
With Allmendinger testing at Charlotte recently, would you be open to the idea of having a road course in the playoffs? And being the most recent winner, would you like to test like Daytona or Indianapolis with these cars?
I think we got just the right amount of road courses. I think they're fun. They really are fun. Maybe add one or something, but, road courses overtaking our sport, I'm not sure about that. I mean, ovals is what our sport was, kind of founded on, I believe. So I would err on the side of, keeping ovals, even though road courses obviously add a lot of, fun factor for a lot of drivers. And I haven't driven on the new Charlotte road course or anything. They just came out with it on iRacing, so I'll give it a try.
All right, we'll go to Lewis and then to Holly and then over here to Greg.
Lewis Frank of Reuters, over on your left. Hi. Yesterday, Kyle said that he offered some help to Daniel Suarez. Now he calls him regularly. Wondering, do you have anyone who calls you regularly? And if you don't, are you offering any counseling services on the telephone?
The only person calling me regularly is my dad, and it's because he's got some issue with some old car he's working on. But that's the only person that regularly calls me. Not really. I mean, I don't have, the dialogue I have with other drivers is, hey, when are we going golfing, or when are we going to go play basketball or something. It's never really racing related.
Are you still the best golfer in the garage?
No doubt.
Okay. Wanted to get that out there. Holly.
Hi, Denny. I wanted to ask you kind of the million-dollar question that we get to do, but no one's won back-to-back Daytona 500s in a long time, and just maybe why you think that's so difficult and how you feel about it going in this year.
Well, I think it's because, it is a very level playing field. There's just really on a weekly basis, I feel like there's probably 20 teams that could potentially win, and when you take it to a super speedway, that number's probably 30. So I think that it's so hard to repeat. It's always intense. It's the first race of the season. There's always some rust to get knocked off. So it's not like you're in a rhythm, I would say. Even though you run some duels and the Unlimited or whatever, the Clash or whatever it's going to be this year, it's so hard to do it back to back. And, some of the NASCAR's greatest drivers, haven't won 2 of them, much less in a row. So it'd be a great goal of mine. And we've won so many other races at that racetrack, between the duels and the Clash and whatnot, that winning back-to-back 500s would be pretty special.
All right, let's go to Greg.
Hey, Denny, Greg Engel, Cupscene.com. A Carl question that doesn't have to do with politics. He was mentioning that perhaps he would have some kind of consulting role, maybe be it some testing, or have you heard anything further about that? I know it's primarily with Daniel, but have you heard anything about that? Has he been around the shop or phone called or anything since he left?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't been there at the shop every single day. I've been there off and on over the last few weeks, and I haven't seen him, but I imagine he's probably doing what he said he was going to do, spend some time at home. But I think no doubt if he's called upon by Daniel or coach or whatever, he'd more than likely be open to helping out. He was a great teammate of ours. We definitely will miss him this year, and we're definitely a better team with him. So whatever role he has, if it is within Joe Gibbs Racing in any way, shape, or form, we'll be better because of it.
Other questions? Right here, Stan, and then over to Chris.
Yeah, Denny, a little bit different topic, if you will, please. Stan Creekmore, Outside the Box. Did you get to see JD over the holidays, and how's he doing?
Yeah, I got to see him at the JGR Christmas party. It was the last time that I've seen him, but hopefully we'll come out with something here shortly that will be a good tribute for him that's going to be on our race car all year long.
Over here to Chris.
Chris Knight, catchfans.com. Denny, I was just wondering if the Denny Hamlin Short Track Showdown was going to come back for 2017, and if it is, if you could talk about it.
we're still in the stages of it, figuring out, what we can do. There's a lot of work that goes into putting that race together, but I for sure want to bring it back. And trying to find the right time to do it is the biggest key, not necessarily where it's going to go.
Other questions for Denny? All right. Over in the back and then up here to Bob.
Keith McFarland, the Keith McFarland Review. Denny, when young kids approach you as fans, can you tell me what's usually that interaction like for you? And if they're interested in the sport, what is your advice that you usually pass along to them?
Well, I think a lot of it is, if I'm meeting them, it's at some autograph session or something inside the garage, and if they want to meet me, usually they're a fan of me, and so I always try to spend as much time with kids as possible because that is our next group of racers and race fans that we're going to have. My thing is go to as many races as you can. That's really how I became a race car driver. Is I was a race fan first, and I remember going to my very first race when I was 5 at Richmond, and the moment I smelled the tires and the burning fuel and the cars buzzing by the first lap, I said I want to be a race car driver. So to me, that's what fueled my passion to be a race car driver. So encourage kids that racing is a great sport to be in. It's great competition, and encourage every kid that wants to do it to try the best they can to do it.
All right, got time for one more question. Bob?
Does the new point system create any urgency as far as getting used to the new front end of the Toyota?
Say it again.
Does having a new front end of the Toyota with this new point system create any urgency to learning it compared to the old system where you'd have maybe more time to learn it and not give up as many points?
Yeah, that's a valid point. I really haven't thought of it that way to where, what is our learning curve going to be with this new Toyota Camry? The good part about it is that Joe Gibbs Racing and TRD helped develop this Camry together. So I'm sure that the learning curve will probably be less than what it was when learning other new Camrys in years past. So I would suspect that we come out of the box, just as strong as what we were at the end of last year.
Well, Denny, thank you very much for your time. Good luck.
Thanks.
Coming up to the stage with, did you say Melody?
Elodie.
Elodie.
Yep.
So it's quite an avail here for you. Came two-time truck champion, close to the third. We'll start out with questions from the floor. Who's got the first one while Dad gets set up here? Here we go, Lee. We'll get the mic over there.
Lee Spencer, Motorsport.com. What were your impressions of the first truck chase?
I liked it. Not going to lie, at the beginning of the season, I wasn't a real big fan of it. I liked the old system, and then became a huge fan of it whenever I had such a terrible preseason, if you want to call it that. And we would probably win about 10th in points just with the 5 DNFs we had. Then we had the fire at the shop. And to be able to have 5 DNFs and get to Homestead and have a shot at winning a championship, I loved it.
Next question. Chris.
Chris Knight, catchfence.com. Hey, Matt, I was just wondering, now that it's gone and out of the way, did you like the caution clock in the Truck Series?
No, I despised it, to be totally honest. I'm very, very happy that it's gone, and I do like the new format and the 3 different segments that we're going to have. I think it'll bring great racing into it, but was not a big fan of that.
Next question, Lewis.
Louis Frank of Reuters. Hi, Elodie.
Hi.
Do you know Ellie and other kids get into the NASCAR Cup races at Charlotte for $10?
I had heard that once before.
And free for Xfinity and truck.
Back to racing. You touched on this, that you like the new system. Truck racing is pretty intense as it goes anyway. You see more wrecking, as the segments come to a close.
If you call that exciting. We kind of like to do it, Well, I mean, hopefully the fans don't come to watch it for the wrecks. Hopefully they come to watch it for great side-by-side racing. This is like, daughter, bring bring your daughter to work day. But I love it. The segments, I think, is going to be very, very good, to be honest, and it's going to bring something exciting, and it's going to give each and every one of the drivers something to reach out for throughout the race. The Truck Series had short enough races as it is, so we raced as hard as we could from the green flag to checkered flag. I think you're going to see the biggest change in the Cup Series because the races are so long, so they're going to be shooting for different stuff. You have anything to say? No? Okay.
Racing a family and the fire, your crew actually went to a sprint car team shop?
Yes, one of the teams.
I can't remember the Ohio racer's name. One of the better ones up there.
I remember it because he gave us a shop to work in.
Yeah.
We were in a parking lot, empty Kroger parking lot. We worked in that for about a week and a half, and then Pegasus Race Trailers, they moved a ton of their shop out, and we ended up moving and working a ton. Had our fab shop and all that in there. They stepped up big, and then the kid Andrews, Chris Andrews, he moved. He had just bought a shop that he was wanting to move into, but he just stepped up and said, "Guys, this is your shop until your new shop's built." And it was amazing, the people that stepped up to ask if we had any room or needed anywhere to put anything, and it was very, very cool to see the whole city of Sandusky.
Okay, got a microphone at Jacob Seelman.
Jacob Seelman, Performance Motorsports Network. Matt, I know there's been a lot of news about changeover in teammates at ThorSport going into this year, but you're the constant. For you, does that really bother you at all going into this year, having the changeover in who you're working with as far as the other drivers in the shop is concerned?
No, I mean, it'll be exciting, the driver lineup that we have. I mean, I really feel confident about that, and I'm very happy with the constant of me being there each and every year. And I feel if I keep doing my job and winning races and contending for championships, I can be there as long as I want. So I'm very happy with that.
Go Zach and then Don.
Zach Elbert, NASCAR.com. Matt, you touched on the fire at the ThorSport shop. What kind of progress has been made in the off season, and how far close to being all the way back are you guys?
It will be done, 100% be done. I think they're saying the end. Second week of February. It looks, most part, 100% done, like the end of this week. But there's little things tidy and little things up until February. But we're going to be moved into that back area that burned down of the shop in the next week or two.
Matt, Don Gamble, rapping on racing. You have a lovely daughter, and I want to give you some advice. I got it from an old timer years ago. When you have the trials and tribulations in racing, you deal with them. But raising a daughter, and I have two, when they're little, they'll step on your toes. When they get older, they'll step on your heart. So be prepared, because raising a daughter is going to be a lot tougher than racing a truck.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's made me a lot tougher, without a doubt. I mean, having her, because she's only 3 years old, and she steps my heart already. So I can't imagine when she gets older if it gets any worse.
Right there. Not you? Go to Stan. He's ready. Fire away.
Thank you, Stan Creekmore, outside the box. When you look at the schedule for this year, what is the one track you are very hungry to get back to?
Atlanta. Atlanta's always been my favorite racetrack. I hadn't won there till 2 years ago, but it was always still my favorite racetrack. That old wore-out surface it's so much fun to race on. To have that tire fall off that we have there from have a ton of grip at the beginning, and you're 15 laps into the run and you're hanging on for dear life. And as a race car driver, that's a blast, and that place has the oldest, greatest surface out there.
Wolfgang.
Wolfgang Munzer from Germany, Ranchwood Press Agency. The trucks are the only NASCAR race series still running on dirt in Eldora Speedway. How different is it to an asphalt oval? Is it difficult to set up the car? Is the driving style different? Can you talk a little bit about that?
The driving style is a lot different. I mean, a lot different, and the setup on them is considerable amount different. Everything you thought you knew about turning left and going in an oval, you might as well throw that out the window on the setup because it doesn't work on dirt. And one of the biggest things on dirt is just trying to learn what the dirt does throughout the night. I mean, when the track's really heavy and it's really muddy, and that's when it's its fastest. And then when the race, if the main event comes along, that the track's really slick at that point, and try to make sure you make all the right adjustments.
Next question. Jacob?
Talking about the shop earlier, Matt, as far as getting everything finally back to normal and you guys getting ready to go to Daytona, how big a motivator is it for you guys as a team after having that affect you now with everything back to normal to just go out and really get it done at the start of this year, come out strong now that everything's back situated?
Oh, it's going to be a huge motivator. I mean, if you look at our season last year up till the beginning of June, I mean, we were on a tear. I mean, we were very, very fast. We won pretty much all of our races the first third of the season until the shop burned down. And then the shop burned down, and I knew it was going to hurt us, but I had no idea it was going to hurt us as bad as it did. And then they got us back in the shop about 3 months after it burned down, and we just used a smaller portion of the shop. But to just look back at all the tools that we lost and setup plates and all the areas that those guys have to work with being in the shop, that's the stuff that you can't replace being on just a concrete floor and trying to make all your setup stuff there.
About time for one more if we have one. Okay, you're ahead of schedule and looks like we got a minute ahead for you.
Thank
you. Matt Crafton gets to spend an extra moment with his